Let's break down the bail system, a process that can change lives in an instant. For many people, an arrest doesn't just mean facing charges. It can mean being separated from family, losing a job, or even a home, all before ever being found guilty of a crime. When someone is arrested, a judge decides if they go home or stay in jail before trial. This decision happens quickly, often within hours of the arrest, and it can have a huge impact on a person's life and future. Traditionally, this decision was about money. Pay bail, go free, can't pay, stay locked up. The bail amount is supposed to make sure people return to court, but in reality, it often means that wealthier people can buy their freedom, while poorer people remain behind bars. Cashless bail flips the script. Instead of focusing on how much money someone has, it asks deeper questions about fairness and public safety. Instead of asking, "How much can you pay?" the system asks, "Are you a risk to the community?" Judges now consider whether someone is likely to commit another crime or skip their court date, rather than just their ability to pay. Judges look at the crime, the person's record, and other factors like ties to the community, employment, and family responsibilities. They weigh all this information to make a decision that balances individual rights with public safety. They also consider the person's likelihood to return to court. If someone has a history of missing court dates, that could affect the judge's decision. If they're low risk, they're released, sometimes with conditions like regular check-ins, electronic monitoring, or staying away from certain people or places. These conditions are meant to ensure safety and accountability without relying on cash. No price tag on freedom. People who pose little risk don't have to sit in jail just because they can't afford bail, giving them a chance to keep their lives on track while awaiting trial. Supporters say this is about fairness. No one should sit in jail just for being poor. They argue that cashless bail helps create a more equal justice system, where freedom isn't determined by the size of your bank account. Cashless bail is a shift from wealth-based justice to risk-based justice. It's about making sure the system is focused on safety and fairness, not just money. It's a fundamental rethink. Should your bank account decide your freedom, or should it be about your actions and your risk to society? This question is at the heart of the cashless bail debate. This debate is heating up, and both sides are passionate. As more states and cities consider cashless bail, the conversation continues about how best to balance justice, safety, and equality for everyone. On August 25, 2025, a major announcement sent shockwaves through the nation's legal and political landscape. President Trump, in a highly publicized ceremony at the White House, signed a sweeping executive order that would have far-reaching consequences for cities and states across America. The order specifically targets jurisdictions that have adopted cashless bail policies, a move that has been both praised and criticized in recent years. The message from the administration is clear: eliminate cash bail or risk losing crucial federal funding that supports everything from law enforcement to social services. Under the order, the Attorney General is given just 30 days to compile a comprehensive list of cities and states that continue to use cashless bail for crimes the administration deems a threat to public safety. Once that list is complete, the federal government has the authority to withhold or even reclaim funds from those jurisdictions, putting immense financial pressure on local governments. President Trump and his supporters argue that cashless bail policies allow dangerous individuals to return to the streets, undermining public safety and eroding trust in the justice system. The executive order singles out Washington, D.C. as a prime example of what the administration sees as a failed experiment in bail reform. D.C. has operated under a cashless bail system since 1992, making it a focal point in the national debate over criminal justice reform. Now, federal law enforcement agencies are empowered to take custody of D.C. arrestees, bypassing local authorities and court systems in an unprecedented move. This represents a rare and direct intervention by the federal government into local justice, raising questions about states' rights and federal overreach. The move is a cornerstone of Trump's tough-on-crime agenda, appealing to voters who are concerned about rising crime rates and public safety. By framing bail reform as a battle between law and order and chaos, the administration is drawing sharp lines in an already polarized debate. With the stroke of a pen, President Trump has made it clear. He views cashless bail not as a progressive reform, but as a direct threat to the safety of American communities. For Trump, this is not just a policy disagreement. It's a defining issue in the fight over the future of criminal justice in the United States. As the nation watches, the stakes in this high-profile national debate have never been higher, and the outcome could reshape the American justice system for years to come. Why fight to end cash bail? For many, it's about more than just a policy. It's about fairness, dignity, and the belief that justice should not depend on the size of your bank account. The movement to end cash bail is growing, fueled by stories of real people whose lives have been upended by a system that often punishes poverty. Imagine two people arrested for the same minor crime. They're both taken to the police station, fingerprinted, and booked. Their charges are identical, but their futures suddenly look very different. One is wealthy, the other barely scraping by. The difference between them isn't guilt or innocence, it's simply money. Both get $1,000 bail. The wealthy person pays and goes home to their family, job, and daily life. The poor person can't pay, so they wait in jail, sometimes for days, weeks, or even months, just because they can't afford freedom. While they're locked up, their life unravels. Job lost, rent unpaid, family disrupted, before they even see a judge. The consequences ripple out, affecting children, partners, and entire communities. Supporters say this creates a two-tiered justice system. Freedom for the rich, jail for the poor. It's a system where your fate is decided not by what you did, but by what you have. It pressures the poor to plead guilty just to get out, even if innocent. Many accept plea deals simply to go home, not because they're guilty, but because they can't afford to wait. Studies show people jailed pre-trial are more likely to be convicted and get harsher sentences. The longer someone sits in jail, the harder it is to fight their case, gather evidence, or even meet with a lawyer. They're cut off from family, work, and legal help. Isolation makes it nearly impossible to prepare a defense or maintain stability in their lives. Cashless bail aims to end this penalty for poverty. Reformers want a system where no one is jailed simply because they're poor. The goal? Judge everyone by risk, not wealth. Decisions should be based on whether someone is a danger or a flight risk, not on their ability to pay. Supporters believe this makes the system fairer and upholds the principle that justice should be blind. It's about restoring trust and equality in the courts. No one should be punished for being poor. The movement insists that freedom should never be for sale. That's the heart of the movement, a justice system that treats everyone equally, regardless of wealth, and gives every person a fair chance. The impact of cash bail is stark. A wealthy executive arrested for DUI pays $10,000 bail and is out in hours, back to work and life as usual. A single mother arrested for a minor offense can't afford even $500 bail. She stays in jail, loses her job, and is separated from her kids. For the rich, bail is a temporary setback. For the poor, it's a crisis. Even if charges are dropped, the damage is done. Job, home, and family life shattered. This isn't rare, it happens daily. Advocates say cashless bail would stop lives from being destroyed over small amounts of money. The system should judge risk, not bank accounts. Cashless bail aims to level the playing field. It's about basic fairness. Freedom shouldn't be for sale. The debate is emotional because the consequences are real. That's why reformers are pushing for change. Critics, including President Trump, argue cashless bail threatens public safety. They say bail keeps dangerous people off the streets and ensures court appearances. Without financial stakes, they fear more people will skip court or commit new crimes. Stories of released defendants reoffending fuel these fears. Critics claim judges can't always predict risk, and money is a more objective safeguard. For them, bail isn't punishment. It's protection for the community. They argue the system already allows low-risk people to be released without bail. The risk of a violent crime by someone released without bail, they say, is too high to ignore. What does the data show about cashless bail? Studies in places like New Jersey and D.C. found eliminating cash bail for nonviolent offenses didn't increase crime or missed court dates. In New Jersey, pre-trial jail populations dropped by half, with no major crime spike. D.C. has used risk-based release for decades. About 90% of defendants show up for court, and violent reoffenses are rare. Some studies do show higher reoffense rates for certain groups, fueling critics' concerns. But overall, most research suggests cashless bail doesn't cause chaos. Both sides point to data supporting their views. The evidence is complex, but the link between cashless bail and rising crime isn't clear-cut. The debate continues, with facts and fears on both sides. The numbers challenge the idea that cashless bail automatically means more danger. Cashless bail isn't just theory. It's happening across the US. DC has used a risk-based system for over 30 years, with judges relying on reports to set release conditions. Illinois became the first state to eliminate cash bail for everyone in 2023. Now prosecutors must prove someone is dangerous or a flight risk to keep them in jail. New Jersey's 2017 reform slashed cash bail use, using a public safety assessment tool to guide judges. The result? Fewer people jailed for being poor. New Mexico, New York, and California have also passed or debated major reforms, with mixed results. Some states have rolled back changes after public pushback. President Trump's executive order is a direct response to this growing movement. States are experimenting, searching for the right balance of fairness and safety. The nation is watching closely. Supporters of cashless bail want more than a rule change. They want justice. They hope to end the criminalization of poverty and uphold innocent until proven guilty. Keeping low-risk people in jail disrupts families and jobs, making future trouble more likely. Reformers argue that jailing the poor wastes taxpayer money and fuels mass incarceration. Savings from fewer jail stays could fund education, mental health, and job programs. They also see bail reform as a step toward racial equity, since people of color are more likely to be held on unaffordable bail. The vision: a system where freedom isn't for sale, and everyone is treated with dignity. It's about fairness, safety, and opportunity for all. That's the promise of cashless bail. As of August 26, 2025, America faces a crossroads on bail reform. Reformers argue cashless bail is key to fairness and safer communities. Critics, led by President Trump, see it as a threat to public safety. The new executive order forces states to choose between reform and federal funding. Legal battles are likely, with courts and maybe the Supreme Court deciding the outcome. The debate raises big questions. Is bail about safety, court appearances, or something else? How do we balance individual rights with community protection? The path forward is uncertain, but the stakes are high. This debate will shape American justice for years to come. The conversation is just beginning.